And welcome back for the instant match reaction to Spurs 1, Sevilla 1 in Suwon in a pre-season friendly in which we saw a huge number of our squad on the pitch. Some of the likes of Sarr, who I've never seen play. An interesting match, Nick. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, it was like we were saying in the watch along. It was interesting in the fact that the ref was kind of letting the game flow, but the tackles were flying in. There was no real protection for the players. It was quite sloppy the first 20, 25 minutes. It was kind of pinball football. And yeah, it didn't really, it didn't really live up to the kind of game from the other night in terms of the amount of goals that were scored. Obviously after half time and everything else, the goals came obviously from Kane and from Rakitic.
Rakitic, yeah.
Got that there in the end.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went back to just kind of petered out, a lot more substitutions. But look, it's another 90 minutes under the belts of the players. Most of them 45 minutes in this heat. They fly back. I guess they're flying back in the next couple of days. Rangers next Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, it was. I mean, look, I don't think it was. We were expecting anything from the other night.
No.
But I think it was like you say, we've got more minutes in their legs, more minutes in the tank. Conte's probably going to send them out to do another 43 full length of the pitch.
Yep.
And yeah, there's, I don't think we need to worry about going in on the players, going in on
Absolutely.
what's kind of happened. It just kind of is what it was. 1-1 undefeated.
Yeah.
We move on.
Look, I mean, the whole point of watching a pre-season friendly, as a sort of dedicated Spurs fan, is just to sort of see what level of fitness they're at the moment. That really is what it boils down to, and to see whether or not there's any sort of indication of the type of play that Conte is likely to employ next season, the sort of base of his system. There's nothing more to be gained in terms of whether or not a player is sharp, whether or not his player has got the skills. I think Lucas at right wing back would have given us some of that because we've never seen him play there before. What did you make of the fact that he employed Lucas in that role from the start?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I kind of liked it, and I'd like to see more of it over the next couple of pre-season games and see whether. Look, he's no Victor Moses yet. But could he be Victor Moses? Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's got that energy. I think from out of all the players that we've seen, he has that energy. And I think that, I think I would like to see it as an option because we saw Matt Dodsey playing on the left.
Yep.
So Conte still, although we're trying to guess where people are going to go, obviously he said Doherty can go if he wants to go. It looks like Emerson is staying. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting few weeks. But I liked it, and I like to see more of it.
Can you see, in terms of fitness, could you see that how far along they are? Obviously, Premier League players are supremely fit as a baseline anyway. But could you see that they weren't at the levels that you would expect during a season?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, they've had some time off, and we talked about it earlier. And they, after a couple of weeks of not doing anything, although they're professional athletes and everything else, their levels are going to drop, obviously. And I think, I think they just need to get that back in the tank. But I think, and we've seen from the videos this week, that Conte's absolutely brutalised them, and they're not going to. They're not going to have a pre-season like they've ever had it before.
Absolutely.
So that will continue.
I think so.
When we get back to Hotspur Way.
Yeah, absolutely. So not a lot to draw from this. What else did you notice? Did anything stand out for you from that match from any of the players?
I think first half, like we were saying, Richarlison, and second half Bentancur came on, and there was it kind of lifted, and like you said, they're used to the system, they've played together. So yeah, it was like they were familiar, let's just say, with everything that was around the surroundings. Unlike the newer players that have only been there a matter of days, weeks. But yeah, those two players I think stood out for me. It was good to see the other players get on. Good to see Sarr get on, Parrott get on. But Hill. Yeah, it's Hill. But yeah, I don't think that those three players would have done anything that would have changed Conte's mind on them, if that makes sense.
Do you reckon there's not in a sort of bad way, but do you reckon there's a battle brewing for that sort of right forward slot between Richarlison and Kulusevski potentially?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it can only do us and where we want to go this season in a better way than what we've had before. We've had the 11. And there was nothing really coming off the bench. Now you've got 2, 3, 4 positions that people are fighting for. It raises the level, and everyone knows that they can't just tread water. Let's just say
they've got to fight.
They've got to fight, and also, yes, we say about Richarlison and the Kulusevski question, but obviously Richarlison plays across all 3 positions, that front 3. So, potentially like you say, if there's an injury, we're going to be playing more games. Last season, there wasn't really the big injury for Kane and Son. All right, Kane didn't show up the first half of the season, but there was no major injuries. And, I don't think we're going to get another season where we don't have major injuries.
I think so. That was very lucky last season, but yeah. It's got to be. You need squad depth, especially in the Champions League. We're hoping to go deep. You've put a bet on to win the Champions League and Premier League double. For that to happen, we're talking 65 games, roughly, including the domestic trophies that we'd be in as well. So, yeah, I think squad depth is important. And in terms of squad depth right now, did you see on there an array of talent for Conte to actually pick from? Did the sort of, I'm not going to say second string, but the players that he brought on after the game had started, his substitutions, did you see a depth of talent there that wasn't there, say, last season?
It's better. It's not where it needs to be.
Not where it needs to be, yeah.
I think if you look at the midfield is pretty much there in terms of the 4 that we've got. Obviously, Longlay's was not there. Perisic was not there. Jed Spence. So we've got others to come in, right? That then makes it again a little bit better. But I still think we all knew that at the end of the season last year that we had to build that squad depth. We've started. Yeah. We've also got to think, we also don't know what's going to happen with the World Cup being in the
middle of the season.
Middle of the season. So that 65 games become, depending how far the national teams go, could become 70 plus.
Yeah.
So we don't know how that's going to affect it. But yeah, it's a start. There's two more that will come in. We know the 4 that want to go out. So we would have, instead of doing what we did at the summer and got rid of 12 and got in 2 or whatever it was, right, yeah. It's building the other way now. Yeah. And we just have to trust in Conte. The next kind of questions is around Kane's contract, Conte's contract, and see what Paratici and ultimately the board deliver in January and beyond.
Absolutely. So, final sum up for the game today, Nick.
For me, it was more miles in the tank. We didn't lose. We didn't keep a clean sheet, which was disappointing. So I think going into Rangers next week, we'll want to the first thing will be that clean sheet. You'd like to think that would be a possibility, but again, it depends on who's fit, who's travels. You don't know if anyone's going to pick up any knocks coming back. So but I think it should be a resounding win next Saturday.
Brilliant. Fantastic. So thank you for joining us for that instant match reaction. Just to sum up, Spurs won, Sevilla won at the Suwon World Cup Stadium in South Korea. The second and last game of our South Korean tour. Next week, Spurs will be back in the UK, as Nick mentioned, playing Rangers. Thank you for joining us for the watch-along and for the instant match reaction. That's it from me and Nick for the actual live part. And as always, come on you Spurs.